Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? We are going to be having a swatch party of every single palette that Fantasy Cosmetica sells. I feel like Fantasy Cosmetica does a really good job at having unique, fun color stories within a 9-pan eyeshadow palette, and all of these palettes retail for about $35 if you use my affiliate code AMYLOVES. So just in case you are curious to purchase any of these, I do have a code with them and I do make a commission on it just to be transparent. I love how they all look lined up right here, but we do have one palette that doesn't quite fit. So let's start swatching. Okay, so I just decided I'm also going to be ranking these because we're already here. I'm already going to be giving you my little mini reviews. So why not put them in order? In 7th place, we have the Fighter palette, which is the most, oh, can't get it open. This is the most neutral palette from the brand. And it's definitely got a mixture of some cool, some warm tones. I do think it's a unique neutral palette, but just comparing it to every other one that they have, it just tends to be the one that I reach for the least. So the first shade in this palette is called Cavalier, and it's just a really soft gray tone. We've got Glory, which is a mixture of kind of some purple and blue. It's a pretty duochrome. And then we've got Valor, which is a nice kind of mustardy, muted tone. Next we have the shade Blade, which is a pretty intense metallic silver, but it definitely has like a depth to it. It's not like a super vibrant silver. And then we've got Fervor, which is kind of a rusty red metallic. Victory, which is a rustic orange metallic. That one's pretty because it has some sparkles in there and I feel like it makes it look a little more unique. Next we have Warrior, which is a deep kind of gray toned brown. We've got Might, which is a deep purple, but it has gold flecks in it and it's super pretty, super dimensional. We've got Marshall, which is a very soft, creamy brown. So there you have it, the Warrior palette. There's definitely nothing wrong with it. There's no lack in quality by any means. It's just not a color story that speaks to me the absolute most, but I mean, it still looks really cute. In 6th place, we have the Bard palette, which this is a really beautiful one. It's got some amazing metallic shimmers, but it's just not a color story that I reach for a ton because it is very, very vibrant. I like the looks I've done with this palette, but again, in comparison to their other color stories, they just rank higher. So the first shade we have here is called Performance, and this is like a yellowy orange matte. We've got Charismatic, which is such a creamy, soft gold. Enrapture, which is a really creamy orange matte. We've got Lure, which is a metallic blue-green shade. Legend, which is a royal blue base with a purple shift. And then Mythic, which is such an intense, like, vintagey gold. Like, look at that. So pretty. We've got Inspiration, which is like an army green color. Wanderer, which is a very, very intense kind of burgundy base with a golden flip. And then Stories, which is a burgundy matte. This one still feels pretty soft to the touch, but it's not as creamy as the other mattes. So there is the Bard palette all swatched out. In 5th place, we have the Warlock palette, and this is a really beautiful mixture of some greens, some kind of pinky purple tones. Again, the shimmers in here are stunning, and I feel like the mattes, you can go very vibrant or you can also go kind of grungy with this palette. It is very beautiful. So we've got Arcanum, which is the most beautiful soft green metallic. We've got Pact, which is a very grungy, yellowy green tone. Ritual, which is an intense blue, green, gold. So I would describe that shade as a multichrome. There you can see the shift just a little bit better. Next we have a very bright green matte called Profane. Just looks like that. We've got Power, which is a bright burgundy matte. Definitely pulling very pink though, a little more pink than red. We've got Patron, which is such a pretty metallic. This is like a pinky purple base with a blue purple shift. Super, super cute. Like, look at that. Occult, which is a deep, deep gray. I feel like it looks black in the palette, but it's just a little bit muted. We've got Offering, which is kind of like a dark, grungy, blue, purple, gray tone. And then we've got Eldritch, which is a deep indigo. So there is the Warlock palette. In fourth place, we have the Sorcerer palette, and this is such a stunning blue, purple, pink color story. I feel like if I didn't love the other color stories so much, this would be number one. Like, I really, really love the way it looks. This is like my comfort colorful colors. I just love blue, pink, and purple together. And again, the shimmers in here are stunning. It's just like a really, really fun palette. But I feel like when you see the top three, you'll understand why. It's so hard to rank things when you genuinely love every single palette, but let's start swatching. So we've got Firestorm, which this is such a creamy metallic. It's got this orange base and a pink flip to it. We've got Innate, which is like a baby pink shade, but vibrant. Like, not pastel, but you know. We've got Wild Magic, which is a soft, kind of like sky blue. So pretty. We've got Unleashed, which is a true hot pink matte. Arcane, which is a purple, blue, shifty shadow. Very, very metallic. We've got Polymorph, and this is more of a cream shade. I feel like you can see the texture there. Kind of reminds me of some of the shadows from Adept. You know how they have like, not their more recent palettes, but they've had some shadows like this in the past. And this is like a deep teal base with a purple blue flip. Ooh, you can see that so well. We've got Chaos, which is kind of more of a satin shade, definitely less metallic, and it's kind of like this deep plum with a blue shift to it, but again, more on the subdued side. We've got Empower, which is a really beautiful, kind of deeper purple, like a grape purple, like an artificial grape purple, to be more specific. And then we've got the shade Illusion, which this one is a duochrome, but it's definitely a little bit on the drier side. And it's got another mixture of kind of blue and purple and teal, but you can see it has more depth than Polymorph, and it's just a different vibe. So there is the Sorcerer palette all swatched out. In third place, we have the Rogue palette, and this, oh my gosh, I just love so much because it's this blue, purple, green color story, but you've got so much depth and you've got so much like grunginess. I don't know, there's just something about like all the muted tones in here, but the shimmers are beautiful, and I don't know, just something about this palette just does it for me. We've got the shade Trickster, which is an uber sparkly metallic like lavender base with a icicle blue shift to it. There's also some like mauve-y warmth in certain lighting. And then we've got Sleight of Hand, which is a really beautiful kind of muted gray purple tone. We've got Sneak Attack. For some reason, these shades are harder to read. And this is along the same vibes where it's got like that muted plummy base purple shift, but it's just a little bit deeper. We've got Deception, which is such a creamy, kind of deep teal base with a purple shift. But again, I feel like it has like this gray grunginess to it. It's colorful, but it's not bright. We've got Stealth, which is a very soft, kind of sagey mint tone. Shadows, which is a grungy olive. Okay, I am gonna pull the mirror for this one because it looks so purple on camera. In person, it has a very strong green flip. We've got Subtle, which is a gray toned lavender. Cunning, which is like a deep peacock kind of bluey green. And then Assassin, which looks to be a black matte shadow with a little bit of sparkle in it. Okay, I'm building up these swatches because the first swatch was out of focus. I'm sorry about that. The black one I didn't get to yet. I feel like these mattes, as you can see, are definitely more on the buildable side. So there is the Rogue palette all swatched out. In second place, we have the Wizard palette, which is their newest launch. And if I can get it open, this is such a stunning blue, yellow, purple color story. I just love the blue and yellow together the most. I think it is so fun. I love the softer looks that I've done with this. You can definitely get very smoky, very intense, but I just think this is a very special, unique color story. It really, really stands out in my collection. So we've got Curiosity, which is a very pale kind of like white with a hint of light blue. We've got Conjuration, which is a soft blue shimmer. We've got Incantation, which is a really beautiful pastel blue, super creamy. We've got Spellbook, which is a pastel yellow matte. Meteor Storm, which is a yellow shimmer with a blue shift to it. I love that that's in here. We've got Graviturgy, which is a holographic shadow. It's definitely more on the subtle side of being holographic, but it's got like some really cool shift to it. It's like purple and green and gray and really cool. Like to have a holographic shadow in a palette that's only $35, like I can't complain. We've got Telepathy, which is like a cobalt blue matte. Divination, which is a really beautiful indigo shimmer. And then Intellect, which I would describe as an indigo matte. Again, those are all very pigmented. Okay, there is the Wizard palette. Such a cute one. Like this one just, I like feel like I have a crush on this palette. In first place, we have the Druid palette, which I'm pretty sure this is the first palette they ever came out with. And this color story just continues to have my heart. It's definitely my most used palette from them. It's just like, I love the grungy tones. I love the greens, like, oh, the mustardy green. This one right here is one of the best mustardy greens in my entire collection. So yes, this is my top fave, and obviously the Wizard got close, very close. I was kind of in between which one to make number one, but this one has just been like such a favorite for so long that I felt like it deserved to stay in #1 place. So first we have the shade Root, which is a beautiful neutral matte brown. We've got Balance, which is a shimmer that has a purple base and a blue-green shift. We've got Forest, which is a deep green. Oops. Kind of mix those two shades together a little bit, but that's okay. We've got Bare Form, which is like a bronzy, slightly golden tone. Serenity, which is a beautiful green. And then Sage, which, like I said, this is one of my favorite shades in my entire collection. Like, just look at that. Oh my goodness. So good. Last but not least, we've got Transformation, which this is one of the like slightly more like chunky shades you can really like move around. It's got a mixture of like a really pinky base and a green flip. Very, very pretty. We've got Regrowth, which this is my least favorite shade. It's just like, I feel like it's very muted, very subtle compared to everything else going on in the palette. And then we've got the shade, what does that say? Old Growth, which this is more of a warm kind of reddy brown. All right, so there is the Druid palette swatched out. She's so cute. Just, I feel like if you love a grungy color story, like for this to be their first palette and to do so well. Alrighty y'all, so that is every palette from Fantasy Cosmetica ranked and swatched and just like my little mini reviews. I really hope that this was helpful. And if there's any other indie brands you really want me to do this same type of video, please comment, please let me know. I'm always open to your recommendations and your requests, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.